Hey guys, this is God of Politics and welcome back to a brand new video. But before we get started with this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also join the Discord that is linked down in the description. But in today's video we'll be talking about the current state of the race in terms of polling and things like that on RCP, which is a database basically of all the polling if you did not know, but you probably do know. And this is just talking about how Trump is really not in a very good position right now. And we're actually going to be comparing it to 2016 because there are many parallels in terms of the fact that Donald Trump was down big in 2016, but not even as much as he's down now. We're going to be looking at individual states, the betting odds, approval ratings, many different things. So to start off, we'll look at the 2020 general election polls. Currently, according to the RCP average, Biden is up 8 percentage points. I do actually expect that to go up because we did have the CNN poll that showed Biden up 14. We now had a Data for Progress poll. I believe that was actually quite an accurate poll in terms of the primaries that is now showing Joe Biden up by 14 points as well. So I do expect that number of 8 points to rise. And he's actually just been continuing to going up. He was up about 4.4 percentage points exactly a month ago. Today's June 10th. May 10th, Joe Biden was up 4.4%. He went up a little bit to around 6%. He fell back down to the low fives, and now he's surged all the way to 8 percentage points here. And this is very bad for Donald Trump because the thing that's different to 2016 is that currently, if we look at the polling here, Joe Biden is really getting very close to cracking 50% in the polls, whereas Trump is, only at 42%. If we compare that to the 2016 polls here, Hillary Clinton, although she was winning by 3.2 percentage points, was only at 47% in the polls. She only ended up getting 48.2% in the polls. So she didn't get anywhere near 50%, if we're being honest. If Joe Biden's at 49.6% in the polls, you have a lot of undecided voters still. That's effectively 50 to 42 there if you round it, meaning that there's still 8% undecided vote or a bit of third party, meaning that you have around 5 to 8% undecided vote. That means that Joe Biden will almost certainly crack 50%, which makes it very difficult for him to lose. Even when Hillary Clinton, if we go back to April of 2016, she barely even cracked 50% at her peak. She is now fallen. If we look at exactly June 10th of 2016, we can see here, let's just let the page reload. But if we look at June 10th of 2016, Hillary Clinton was up 3.8 percentage points. She had spikes along the way. She was up 7 percentage points here, but then she went back down. Donald Trump, around the time of the convention, was winning here by just over a point. Hillary Clinton went back up again by 7 point something, but she was never up 8 percentage points, or not even more than that. And she never got anywhere close to 50 percentage points after this point. Even when she was up here, as we can see here, she was up by 9%. She's up by 7.7 percentage points here. She was only at 48% in the polls. Joe Biden here is up by 8 in the polls, so only 0.3% more than that, and he's up an extra 2 points almost in terms of the actual number. And so that's really good for Joe Biden. And, I'm trying to look at this as objectively as possible, but this is really not good news for Donald Trump here. If you want to look at some other information here, we can just look at state polling here. We look at the state of Wisconsin here, for example. We can see Joe Biden is up by 3.4 percentage points. We have had, polls going either way, and in fact, Wisconsin was the state where the polls were the most off in 2016. Hillary Clinton was up by 6.5 percentage points, and she ended up losing it. Under that logic, Joe Biden would lose the state of Pennsylvania. That is definitely true, but then that can be substituted by the fact that Arizona, Joe Biden is winning by 3.4 percentage points here. And in 2016, if we want to look at those same Arizona polls, we can see, that Donald Trump was winning in the Arizona polls and actually underperformed the Arizona polls here. If we go into the Arizona polls from 2016, Donald Trump was up by 4 in the RCP average and ended up winning by 3.5. Joe Biden is up by 3.4 in the RCP average. I do think that he can end up winning the state, along with the fact that the Senate race is there too. If we want to look at some other results here, the Florida polls were very accurate in 2016. They were quite accurate in 2012. They were quite accurate in 2008. They weren't too accurate in 2018. But for the presidential elections, they were accurate. And currently, they do have Joe Biden up by 3.4 percentage points. People questioned why I put Florida in the Democratic column for my Battleground Map. That is why. I'm going to go off the same standards that I went off in 2016, that currently Joe Biden is winning in the polls. And if the polls were accurate in the state in 2016, we have to assume that they'll be accurate again. And even if they're off by quite a bit, Joe Biden would still win because he's been ahead in every single poll. If you look at states like Arizona, Joe Biden isn't ahead in every single poll, but in this state, he is. Even if we look at a state like North Carolina, a state that's gone to the Democrats once since the 60s, Donald Trump's up by 0.3 percentage points here, but even that, this CNB Change Research poll is bringing a lot of the averages down for Joe Biden. I do think this poll is not a very good poll. It had it tied in Wisconsin, Donald Trump up in Arizona, but losing to Joe Biden in North Carolina by 1. I do disagree with a lot of that, and obviously there's a PPP poll, which is skewed to the Democrats a couple points, but it does have Joe Biden up by 4. Savita's in the Harper poll, which usually actually does favor Democrats, has Trump up by 3. East Carolina University, don't know too much about them, but they have Trump up by 3 as well. And if we look at Michigan, this is the very big one because currently it has Joe Biden up by 7.3 percentage points. And we actually had a poll out yesterday. I don't know if they'll put it in RCP, but there was a poll out yesterday showing Joe Biden up by 15 points in the state of Michigan. And while, again, Joe Biden's not going to win Michigan by 15 points, I really do not think that's likely. But even if that poll is 10 points off, even if it's 12 points off, that's still a good poll for Biden because he's still winning. The overall spread for the RCP average for Michigan, Biden is up by 7.3 percentage points. That is really big. And then Pennsylvania here, the state that's kind of the must-win for Democrats, it's Florida for Republicans. Again, you have that CNBC Change Research poll. I really disagree with how they did that poll. It's kind of ridiculous. They have 500 likely voters. They did it in a bunch of states. They got results that are all over the place. How are you going to have Joe Biden up by 1 in North Carolina, but down 4 in Michigan, up 2 in Michigan, down 4 in Pennsylvania, up 2 in Michigan, down 1 in Arizona, tied in Wisconsin? It's just a very weird poll there, which has kind of actually lowered the numbers for Joe Biden, but he still ends up winning by quite a bit here. If you want to go back to the overall RCP page here and go to Trump's approval rating, this is another thing that I wanted to look at here. Joe Biden currently in the RCP, Donald Trump in the RCP approval rating has hit quite a low point here. He was at May 17th, he was at 46.4 percentage points. He's now at 42.6 percentage points. So he's fallen 4% in the approval ratings in, 4 weeks, not even 4 weeks, just under a month here. He was, in April, peaking up at 47% after the original thing with the virus came out. He got a spike in approval. He went from 44% all the way up to 47%. He gained 3, but now he seems to be going into the tank here. Part of that is because of many polls. None have actually reached the 30s yet, but they're getting very close. CNN had him at 40. Reuters had him at 40. NBC News had him at 42. And even Rasmussen had him at 44, which is, has a Republican bias there, which is Donald Trump minus 11 there. So that's actually quite interesting as well. Donald Trump's job approval on the economy, if you want to look at the job approval on the economy, it is still plus 6.2. And while it was higher before, obviously we see numbers that are in the high double digits here for many of them. It's actually quite interesting because that is going to be Donald Trump's, again, main thing for 2020 election. If he can, make a great economy in 2016, after getting elected in 2016, he can do the same thing in 2020. It's all going to depend a lot on whether the job numbers are good for him, many things that are going to have to come out here. And then finally, we'll look at the betting odds here, which again showed Donald Trump up for quite a while here, but are now showing Joe Biden up by quite a bit. They had Donald Trump steadily up by 7 to 8, even 9 percentage points here. And then, May 27th, you look at it, or May 26th, Donald Trump was up by 8 percentage points. Now Joe Biden is up by 6 percentage points. That was a big change, mainly because of the riot protests, and now it's staying like this because of the polls that are coming out. Because if you look at the approval ratings of Donald Trump's response to these riots, response to the virus, response to 2 different crises at once, it has been absolutely awful for him. And unless Donald Trump can do something about it, it's going to continue to hurt him in his approval rating. He actually hired a person after the CNN poll came out. He hired a person to kind of debunk the poll, which I thought was quite odd, but that's what he did. And I guess he'll keep doing that. He'll keep fighting back dirty. And we've seen that before, and we're most likely going to see it again. And that's kind of the gist of what's happening right now. The gist of what's happening right now is that Donald Trump's in a very bad position, and he's going to have to change something if he wants to win. If he doesn't change something, Joe Biden is going to go on and win this election quite handily, because he really doesn't have to do much. He gets a lot of, Donald Trump's the one that's mainly in the spotlight here. Joe Biden's not really in the spotlight to the same extent that Donald Trump is, so everything that Donald Trump does, most people are watching, whereas something that Joe Biden does, because being in the spotlight hurts both of them. Whoever it hurts more is another question, but it does hurt both of them. There's no question about that. And if Donald Trump right now is in the spotlight a lot, and that's going to be a big problem for him if he wants to end up winning this election. But right now, candidates have high points, they have low points. This is a low point for Donald Trump. This is a high point for Joe Biden. Will they keep diverging from each other in terms of the odds, in terms of the polls, in terms of anything like that, or will Donald Trump get it closer? We'll just have to see. But thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, join the Discord that is linked down in the description. So thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.